Spirit Halloween has a lot of animatronics that never make it to release. Let's take a look at some of the most newly discovered ones. Hello everything scary, I'm GMHaunts, and if this video seems familiar to you, then it actually is, because 9 months ago, I did a video talking about some of the most newly discovered Spirit Halloween prototype and unreleased animatronics, and today, 9 months after that video, I have come back once again to do a second video showing some even more unreleased animatronics that I didn't get a chance to look at in the first video. Now, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because that last video was one of my most popular videos I've ever created on this channel, so I think there's a lot of interest out there for unreleased animatronics. And before I get into some brand new ones, I just want to give credit to all of the pictures from this video come from the Spirit Halloween wiki. Top link in the description will go to them. Credit goes to them for all of the pictures. None of them are leaks. They're all public information that all come from the Spirit Halloween wiki, so credit goes to them. Go check them out for all of the images. But without further ado, let's take a look at some of the most newly discovered Spirit Halloween unreleased animatronics. So we're going to kick it off with one that I really wish could have released, because this is one that I think is really unique and really cool looking, and that is, it doesn't have that much of a cool name, I'm going to warn you right now, but it is the 6-foot animated Scarecrow. So again, this guy does not have a very cool name, and it might not have been his official name, but again, since he's unreleased, we have very little information on him. As you can see here, this is a Scarecrow animatronic that was going to be manufactured by Pan Asian Creations, otherwise known as PAC, P-A-C. He was 6 feet tall and was originally supposed to be released at Spirit for the 2018 season, presumably being featured in the Spirit Acres Farm ISC or the Dead Harvest Farmhouse, but most likely he would have been featured in the front theme, which was again Spirit Acres Farms, because he is a Scarecrow. This guy shares a very similar look to the Haunted Scarecrow from 2008. If you take a look, they share a very similar look of a static Scarecrow, very old looking, very retro looking, just a classic regular base. Really no legs to him, because again, he's manufactured by Pan Asian Creations, which is not always the highest quality of companies. So he basically just features a plastic base. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he didn't release. Again, he's completely static. He just made some noise, and that's basically all he did. He had some laughing audio that would play, his mouth lit up when he was activated, but that's it, no motion, nothing like that. Again, maybe that's another reason why he ended up being canceled. He had a really cool looking face, which I think that's one of the reasons why I liked him so much. I really like that wide open mouth. I think the color of his face looks really cool for a Scarecrow. I love the long hair he's got. The hat is really cool, and I really like the pattern on him. He would have looked a little bit better, I think, if he had some blood on him. He does look very clean, and obviously that plastic base doesn't make him look that great. We've seen other animatronics with that same base, such as the animated evil clown, stuff like that. Whenever it comes from a cheaper company, we see these plastic bases, and I'm not always a fan of them, and I'm not a fan of it on this one. All the pictures from this guy come from an eBay listing. This prototype was actually sold on eBay this year, back in 2021. And you can actually get a picture of his hand sample tag that told us that he was a sample. If you're wondering how we know that this guy was supposed to be at Spirit but never released, it's because that sample from Pan Asian that says that he was for Spencer, Spirit's parent company, and that he was supposed to be released in 2018. As we can see, the date he was manufactured was 2017, meaning he was going to be released the next year, 2018, for the 2018 season. Overall, this is a really cool little prop. I can't even really call this one an animatronic, because he is completely static, but I really like this guy, and it would have been awesome to see him in Spirit Acres Farms, but he got canceled for unknown reasons. Let's take a look at the next unreleased secret Spirit Halloween animatronic. So this next unreleased animatronic is one that's definitely very strange, and of course I am talking about the animated jumping zombie. Again, not a very good name, but that might have not been the official name. We just don't really know since it's unreleased. This guy was 25 inches tall. He lunged forward, and he had LED eyes, and of course he had some audio when he lunged forward. Once again, this guy was listed on eBay this year in 2021, and that's how we have his images, and that's how we ended up learning about this guy. Now, this guy was supposed to be released during the 2017 Spirit season. Now, obviously, he doesn't really have that much of a unique character or something that jumps out to you right away. So, honestly, I don't know. Most likely, he would have been featured in the Spirit Hollows Bridge ISC. I think he fits more in that one than he does in Area 31, because that one was primarily aliens. because he was supposed to be Area 51. So I guess this guy was supposed to be featured in Spirit Hollow's Bridge back in 2017. This guy is definitely an interesting one because he isn't that big. Like I just said, he was only 25 inches tall and he lunged forward off of the ground, similar to how the jumping spider does, jack-o'-lunger, anything that has a lunging motion. But he was only 25 inches tall, so not that big at all. This guy featured some black hair. He had a black kind of coat to him. I don't even know if it's a coat. Maybe more like a cloak. And again, he has a skeleton face and black hair. Some really kind of... He doesn't really look that cheap, but the hands look cheap to me. He was supposed to be manufactured by Party Time Latex Art Factory, which actually Party Time is the same guy that manufactured animatronics, such as Crouchy, the Butcher, many other ones. Those are just like the big ones, the popular ones, and they've done a lot more than that. His sample tag obviously has the Party Time logo on it. That's how we know that he was a Party Time prototype. And then it actually says that he was supposed to be $215, presumably. Probably, we don't know if that's either to how much he was supposed to be for Spirit, or probably how much he was going to be to Spirit, not to regular consumers. But he was supposed to be $215 for Spirit. And again, he just featured LED eyes and a lunging motion. Not that unique, this one, I'm not going to lie. He's interesting to see. I don't think I had so much interest in this guy that I probably would have been picking him up. Obviously, he's still cool because he's a prototype, but he really doesn't have that much to him. And honestly, I'm not so disappointed that he was canceled because he is just more of a simple one. I don't think he really fit in Spirit Hollow's Bridge that well. And overall, I'm not super disappointed to see that he was eventually canceled and not brought out for Spirit Halloween 2017. Let's take a look at the next Spirit Unreleased animatronic. So this next unreleased animatronic might look very familiar to you, and the reason that is because just this past season, 2021, we got a released animatronic that had a very similar concept to this one, and this is the animated Ram's Head Devil. So this guy was supposed to be released during the 2018 Spirit Halloween season, and once again, he was going to be manufactured by Pan Asian Creations, a PAC. We don't really know a lot about this guy, and he's honestly a very simple animatronic. That's probably part of the reason why he did. This is a very similar animatronic to what we saw this past season with Baphomet. He's another devil. Now this guy, obviously, if you compare Baphomet to the Ram's Head Devil, you're going to get a lot of differences because this is not meant to be the same animatronic. It's more just that the idea of him was very similar with a sort of devil, what they do with Baphomet. But you're also going to see a very big quality difference. Pan Asian Creations, again, manufactured this guy. SVI manufactured Baphomet, and you can definitely tell the difference between the two of them. Once again, this animated Ram's Head Devil was listed on eBay this year in 2021. That's where we got all these pictures and everything from. He features a sample tag that says this is a handmade sample. The head will be plastic injection mold. So the head was actually going to be plastic. I don't believe it was on the prototype, which we see that a lot with prototypes, that the materials you see on there are much more high quality than what they actually end up being. The other tag on him, again, just says that he was manufactured in 2017, meaning that he was supposed to be sold the next season during 2018. Now, honestly, I don't know where this guy was going to be featured. 2018 was, again, the Spirit Acres Farm and the Dead Harvest Farmhouse. He doesn't really fit into either of those themes. Maybe that's part of the reason why he got canceled, but I don't really think he could have fit in either one. Maybe they could have tried to stretch it and get him to fit in a farm ISC because he has a sickle to him. Don't really think that would have worked out. Maybe that's why he got canceled. When this guy was activated, he had a mouth that moved, and he had various phrases as the eyes were lighting up. Again, very simple. Not something that's like groundbreaking here. Maybe, again, it's another reason why Spirit didn't go for it in the end. The sickle's very plasticky looking. The face is really cheap looking. The whole thing is not that great quality just because Pan Asian manufactured it, and obviously that they're not one of the most high quality companies Spirit works with. So again, this is one that I'm sort of glad it got canceled. Not really disappointed that it got canceled because it just is really cheap looking and it wouldn't have fit in the ISCs anyway. And Baphomet, of course, is a much better concept of a devil because it's a way better company, way more expensive, and just a much better idea than this animated Ram's Head Devil was. But either way, it is still interesting to see that it got canceled for the 2018 season. Let's take a look at this next animatronic that was canceled from Spirit Halloween. So this next unreleased animatronic is yet another one that we really don't have like any information on, just because we basically only have one singular photo of him, and that is the brain-eating zombie. Now, this guy was originally supposed to be released during the 2011 Spirit season. He would have been featured in the Zombie Wasteland ISC, as he is a zombie and would have fit very well into that theme. And he was manufactured by YJ Toys and Crafts, a very popular company that makes actually some really high quality stuff. And he was around probably 6 feet tall. Now again, we only have one photo of this guy, and it's not even a photo that came off of eBay. This is just a photo from YJ's kind of like, I don't even really know what to call it, like stock photos, I guess. As you can see, this is a zombie holding an actual person. We have no idea what the animation was going to be like, but maybe it was like, maybe the zombie leaned down to try to eat the brain of the regular person. Not really sure. He probably had a moving mouth since YJ was manufacturing him, and YJ does a moving mouth. Maybe he had LED eyes. He probably had some grunting audio, probably something that a zombie would have. I actually think this guy looked pretty cool. If you take a look, this guy has a very similar look to the flesh-eating zombie that came out from SVI in 2011. Now, it's possible that this guy, this brain-eating zombie, was YJ's take on the flesh-eating zombie, and Spirit in the end decided to just go with flesh-eating zombie. Definitely possible, because they have a very similar look to that. They have a similar look to each other, and the name is very similar to each other. So I definitely could have seen this guy being instead in the spot of flesh-eating zombie instead of flesh-eating zombie, if you understand what I'm saying. But honestly, I think I actually prefer this guy over flesh-eating, just because I think this guy's a little bit more unique. I love that he's holding the body of a regular person, and I think the regular person looks ultra realistic. I think YJ hit it out of the park on the regular face sculpt, and even the zombie. Really, really like how they look. Now, I will say this guy looks really similar to Shadow Stalker that also was in the Zombie Wasteland, so maybe, again, that had a reason to do with why this guy was canceled, because he just had a really similar look to Shadow Stalker. But overall, again, even though we don't really have any information on this guy, I think he looks really cool. I think YJ did a really, really nice job on this prototype model, and I'm sure that he would have been even cooler with the audio and the movement and the animation. All that, I think he would have been even cooler, but just from this one photo, it would definitely have been cool to see YJ go forward with this one and see Spirit go forward with this one, but most likely we will never see him see the light of day. Let's take a look at the final Spirit Halloween unreleased item. So my final Spirit Halloween unreleased item for you is probably one of the most interesting ones on this entire list, and this is actually the newest one that is on my list, because this was supposed to be released this past season for 2021, and this isn't a life-size animatronic, it's a little item, but this is the vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. Now, before you comment or dislike the video, this is not a leak. I understand that the photo looks like it's a leak because we only have one, but this is public information at this point. It's shared in the Spirit Halloween Wiki. We have permission to share this, so promise you this is not a leak. We are allowed to share this. And again, this is the vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. Now, this guy was actually supposed to be manufactured by Rayland Industrial Company, a company that doesn't do a ton of stuff. They do a little amount of stuff, but they were supposed to be making this guy. We don't have any idea what his price was supposed to be. We just know that he was supposed to be manufactured by Rayland and that he was supposed to be released this past season for 2021. Now, this guy is definitely very, very interesting. Obviously, in past years, we've seen a spike in Spirit producing Sidesteppers. We've seen the Sidestepper, we've seen the Siam Sidestepper from Trick or Treat. Again, this last season, we saw the Spiky Sidestepper. They've really gotten into doing all these kind of Sidestepper characters for their in-store lineup, and this was supposed to be one that we got for 2021 until it got canceled, and it would have been a version of their vintage Frankenstein mask, but in a Sidestepper form. Now, I think this guy looks really, really unique just from the planogram photo. Now, again, this is a black and white photo. It's kind of blurry, and it's a prototype because it's in the planogram. So there's not really much to work from this image, but we do know this. The face of him is the exact same model that was on the vintage Frankenstein mask that Spirit has. So we know that's what the face was supposed to be. He most likely had green skin because the mask did. He has those hands in there, and because he's a sidestepper, he was going to have that sidestepping motion that all the other ones do, where he kind of walks back and forth on a table. He would have done the same exact thing. We have no idea what the audio would have been because we have no videos of him. We only have this one photo, and it seems like his outfit featured a black cloak, a black shirt, just a black outfit, very similar to what the actual Frankenstein from the movies does. Just getting as much of an accurate look as Spirit and Rayland possibly could. I really would have loved to see this guy. The vintage lineup has become bigger and bigger every single year. For example, this past season we saw the vintage dolls with the vintage clown, and the vintage werewolf, and this guy was supposed to be part of that whole vintage aesthetic lineup, but unfortunately he got canceled. It's very possible that we see him released for the 2022 season because he was supposed to be released just last season, and with shipment delays, a lot of stuff never even got into the country, so it's possible this was one of the problems that happened with this guy, is that he wasn't actually canceled, he just never made it in time for stores, and I actually hope he gets released for 2022, because I think he would have been really unique, and there are, as of right now, we have no other vintage Sidesteppers, and he would definitely be a cool one to see for the first time that Spirit did a vintage Sidestepper. And overall, I think this guy would sell really, really well because the vintage masks did sell really well, and they are very, very unique. And I would love to see this guy in stores for 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going through my second video, taking a look at some unreleased animatronics, and in the case I just talked about, an unreleased Sidestepper. Let me know if you want to see a part 3 of this video. I know that my first one, again, is one of my most popular videos I've ever done. So if this one does very popular as well, I might have to do a part 3 because there's still a couple animatronics and items that I haven't gone over. And I will definitely like to do that if this video does well. And maybe I'll end up doing a part 3. Ladies and gentlemen, remember as always, for everything scary, I'm GMHaunts. As you guys said, for more Spirit Halloween, possibly unreleased, but definitely 2022 videos. Goodbye.